As COVID-19 and its variant continue to wreak havoc in South Africa and the globe, the education sector in the country has also been hard hit. Scores of teachers have died this year due to COVID-19, while many have also been sick. KwaZulu-Natal is one of the provinces that lost many teachers due to the pandemic. Let's chat now just about this and what this means then for the year ahead. We're joined live via Skype now from Pietermaritzburg by KwaZulu-Natal MEC for Education, Kwazi Mshengu. Mr. Mshengu, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it here on SABC News. To say that this was a tough year would be an understatement, wouldn't it?
Indeed, it will be an understatement. It has been a very traumatic year. We all took strain because of the novel COVID-19 that disrupted the system. We had to deal with the situation that no one has ever dealt with before. We started the year on a high positive note, hoping that as a province we are going to build on our record pass rate, which we recorded last year, which was 81.3%. But again, we then had to be disrupted at the beginning of March by COVID-19. We spent most of our time outside classrooms trying to prepare the schools for the reopening. And as we reopened in June, again, it was opening and closing because of the number of infections that were taking place. And as the biggest system of education, the province of KwaZulu-Natal was really under immense pressure and strain, given the fact that even some of the interventions that we had hoped to put in place to assist learners during the lockdown could not reach the learners owing to the lack of connectivity in some part of our province. 70% of our schools are in rural areas, and these are areas that are not currently connected.
Sure, Mr. Mshengu, I want us to get back to that education system issue and the issues that you definitely face. But I just want to perhaps get a starting point with regards to, how many teachers you've unfortunately had to lose, perhaps students as well that have succumbed to the virus as well. And how much strain that then puts on your system and education as a whole within the province.
So far, the statistics that we have is that 106 teachers have succumbed to COVID-19, with 32 of them within the past week.
Sure.
And it's quite a strenuous thing to happen. So far, there are no records of learners that have succumbed to COVID-19, but we are anticipating, in fact, that the number of teachers who have passed on, unfortunately, could be actually more than 106. We are still collecting statistics from the principals. Some of them are actually reported late that so and so actually passed on that particular date. So we are faced with a very traumatic and strainful situation as a province, because it means that we are going to begin the year with a real shortage of teachers in our schools. And we are just hoping and praying that we're not going to lose more teachers, and we continue to stress the message from the president that let's keep home, let's sanitize, let's mask, and follow all the health protocols, because the only way to defeat this virus is to follow the non-pharmaceutical protocols that have been put in place.
Yeah, Mr. Mshengu, then how do you mitigate this? How are you going to deal with the shortage of teachers now? 106 is a lot, and in a strained education environment already, this is bound to make things even harder. So how exactly will this be done from here on in? Is there an incentive to get more teachers? Is the provincial government helping in any way? Is national government helping in any way as well?
Well, obviously we'll have to fill all those vacancies with speed. And we are hoping that as we resume work on the 4th of January, one of the priorities of the department will be filling those posts that have been declared vacant as a result of the passing away of these educators. But also we will be tapping on the education employment initiative that was announced by the president. We have employed thousands of educator assistants who were employed to assist the educators with their day-to-day work. So in the meantime, those will also come in handy while we are filling in these vacancies with speed.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. Of course, you dealt a little bit earlier on about the technological difficulties that you faced, of course. The virus isn't gone away. To start the new year, to start the school year as well next year, means you're going to start it with the virus still in play. How best are you going to then try to navigate through the year? And what measures have you now put in place to perhaps meander through the difficulties that have come through from the technological side?
Well, it will be to try and perfect what we implemented last year, which is one, ensuring that all our schools are in a safe environment for teaching and learning. You will recall that we had a number of non-negotiables which we agreed to in a sector, and each and every school had to comply with that. So as we begin the year, that will be the first task that we'll be facing to ensure that each and every school continue to adhere to these non-negotiables. But also we'll continue with the differentiated timetabling, which saw a number of grades alternating the attendance in our schools. Grade 12 will continue to be in school throughout the schooling days, but to mitigate against the overcrowding in our schools and ensure a proper social distancing, we are going to follow a differentiated timetable where other grades will be in school on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Others will attend on Tuesday and Thursdays. But we'll also be trying to ensure that we continue to negotiate with teachers that where possible, we also run Saturday classes. In October, we had to teach 7 days a week. And we thank the educators for their dedication and commitment, because without them, we could not have pulled through.
No, that certainly is, one of the things that I don't think teachers get enough credit for, just how much willingness they're willing to really put in order to get the educational year completed as well. All right, I just want to talk about some other issues as well that certainly face the province, and it's not just specific to the KwaZulu-Natal province, but certainly issues around PPE and having a whole host of that as well, not just for educators, but for pupils and everybody in and around the sector. Do you believe that, there was any allegations of wrongdoing, and whether they're actually correct in any sense, the allegations of wrongdoing in the purchase of personal protective equipment?
Well, there were wrongdoings that were uncovered by Auditor General, and we thank the team from Auditor General, because what happens that when people commit wrongs, they don't walk to your office and say, MEC, as you see me, I have just committed the wrong thing. Yeah. They do so with the hope that they will not be caught. Remember, systems are put in place by the people, and they get easily corrupted by the same people. So we rely on institutions like Auditor General, SIU, and other law enforcement agencies to ensure that they uncover these transgressions. Indeed, in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, I can confirm that there were transgressions that were uncovered by Auditor General, which related to the issue of cover coating, awarding to companies that were not test compliant, were not on the central supplier database. And as the province, we have currently suspended 2 senior officials, directors within the SCM, and currently they are taken through the disciplinary processes. We have also requested the intervention from the Premier's office. They have seconded 2 people to assist us in turning around the SCM of the department to ensure that we really tighten up, and what we experienced in the first procurement of COVID-19 essential actually doesn't happen again. And we're happy with the work that has been done. I can assure you that most of the things will not repeat themselves, and we're hoping actually to run a clean bill in terms of the procurement of COVID-19.
Mr. Mshengu, what's the worst that could happen to them, though? I mean, yes, they're suspended at present, but if they're found in this disciplinary process to have actually been completely guilty of the wrongdoing and maladministration, etc., what's the worst that could happen here? Are we talking jail terms here? Are we talking just full-on loss of jobs? Are we talking fines? What's the worst?
The worst which we are hoping for anyone who is found guilty, obviously, is to be ejected out of the system. Because we have been making this clear from day one when we asked this responsibility that there will never be coexistence with corruption. So those who still have intentions to be corrupt and do fraudulent activities, they better leave the system early. So the intention is that if they are found guilty out of this objective process of disciplinary hearings, they will be expelled from the department. Not only from the department, government now says once we are expelled, you must be known throughout so that you don't leave KZN and go and find same employment in Limpopo.
Yeah.
So government must be able to detect that, no, we're fired in KZN, but will also be able to open criminal cases and people will be pursued even at that level.
Yeah. So that's essentially a blacklisting of sorts for that
Definitely.
person. All right. Just very finally, the province still does have an infrastructure backlog, especially when it comes to education and the building of schools and such as well. How's that going? How's that faring? What improvements are set to be made going into 2021?
Well, there are a number of infrastructure problems that we're facing, and the budget cuts are not making things easy. Just in this financial year, over 500 million of a budget cut was effected on infrastructure grant, which meant that we had to put on ice some of the projects that were on the pipeline. But we continue with the projects such as the eradication of pit latrines in the province, which we gave ourselves 2 years to completely eradicate. We'll continue with the project of drilling of boreholes in all the schools that are not connected to municipality pipe water. And that will help us to deal with the issue of erratic provision of water by municipalities, but also to mitigate against the high bill that are affected on water by municipalities to our schools. We'll also continue to build and rehabilitate certain schools in the province. Unfortunately, the pace with which we wanted to move has now been curtailed by these budget cuts. We're hoping that in the next financial year will not suffer the same situations of budget cuts, because that will actually collapse our projects, our infrastructure projects, which we urgently need to rehabilitate a number of schools in the province. You know, there are schools that really even in our view, cannot continue to be inside. To teach under such conditions.
Yeah.
And those are the schools that we want to prioritize, particularly around the district of Erikwala. There are a number of schools which are really not in a state where you can say you can put a teacher and a learner with confidence in those schools. So we are hoping that we'll get more funding and we'll continue to roll out our projects.
Yeah, taking all of that into account then and everything we know now, if 10 was the best, out of that rating, 1 to 10, how ready are you for the 2021 educational year?
I can say 7. 7. We have really worked hard towards the end of this year to ensure that we prepare for 2021 academic year.
Yeah.
But also we're cognizant of the fact that during these holidays, there are a number of incidents that have also been reported now again of school vandalism.
Yes.
And all of those things. And those are taking us back in terms of preparation. But we had to cut short the holidays for many senior staff members to say on the 4th, all of us must be back in office. We need to do the stock taking of each and every school to ensure that it is ready. Where there are interventions, they must be made timelessly so that by the time teachers return to schools on the 25th, our schools are ready, and on the 27th, each and every learner is in classroom and teaching is taking place.
Kwazi Mshengu, who is the MEC for Education out in KwaZulu-Natal. Baba, thank you so much for speaking to us. Appreciate your time. We hopefully can check in with you as well, just at the beginning of the year and as the year progresses, to just really see the latest when it comes to KwaZulu-Natal.